Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Vinod Paul to address this august gathering.
Good evening, Namaskar. Honorable Governor of Haryana, Professor Ashim Kumar Koshi, Srimati Mitra Kaur of State of Haryana, President of NAMS, Dr. Vinod Paul-NAMSCON, President-elect NAMS, Lieutenant General Sayaji, Director PGI, Dr. Vinod Paul, Secretary NAMS, Dr. Umesh Patilji, Dean, Dr. Radha Rathoji, the members of the esteemed Council of National Academy of Medical Sciences, fellows of NAMS, associate fellows of NAMS, members of NAMS, distinguished faculty of PGI. I'm truly honored to be here in the august presence of the Honorable Governor and the distinguished presence of all of you. The National Academy of Medical Sciences, as you heard from my distinguished colleague, Dr. Behra, is a unique organization. Honorable Sir, it represents all the disciplines of medicine and medical sciences, orthopedics, pediatrics, anatomy, biochemistry, surgery, cardiology. It's one umbrella under which the leadership of this in medical sciences, medical education, and clinical care comes together to serve the nation. I'm honored to be a humble fellow of NAMS for some time now. Our journey for Viksit Bharat at 2047 would pass through India becoming a Swasth Bharat. In fact, this imperative has to be achieved before 2047 because health is enabler for development. And development leads to better health in many ways. Of course, there are risks as well. Viksit Bharat, according to the Honorable Prime Minister, is also about strong, world-class institutions. NAMS is one of those institutions. If you combine these two imperatives, Honorable Sir, then there is a special responsibility on man to enable, in its own way, making this India, making our Bharat, this country, our beloved Bharat, a Viksit Bharat. That's the importance. The Honorable Prime Minister has repeatedly said in multiple speeches that all of us individually and collectively have to make contribution on a daily and a weekly basis toward that goal, because that is the responsibility of this generation for the next generations to create, that is to create a Viksit Bharat. And in that regard, building on the strengths, embarking on the strengths of National Academy of Medical Sciences, and respected, as I mentioned clearly, think tank, policy enabler, idea, cauldron, and so on, I have 4 humble suggestions to make while we celebrate the achievements of NAMS. Firstly, NAMS has been a think tank producing highly accomplished, insightful documents, several of them, every year. But I would now suggest that we take this little further while we continue to do so, because that thinking, encapsulating thinking into such documents, historic documents, must be coupled with specific studies and specific ideas and suggestions that emerge out of studies. I'll give an example. Would you like to study how Ayushman Bharat PMJ has done? We have a network of members in every center of excellence, perhaps in every medical college or most medical colleges. Can we see how the competency-based medical education curriculum, which was launched in 2018-19, how is it doing with regard to the competencies of undergraduate students? Who else will do? Antimicrobial resistance. How are we doing across our own ecosystem of centers of excellence, medical colleges and institutions at large? studying district residency program. It's a very major program of the National Medical Commission, under which in the second year of postgraduate program, every PG student goes to serve in a district and a sub-district hospital. How well we have done. What would you like us to do to improve this and so on. There are other ideas. The nation is building critical care blocks which will add 35,000 critical care beds. How are we doing it? What can we do to make this huge resource created with the public money to be most useful and so on. So I'm suggesting that we create a hub for research and evaluation within NAMS and conduct policy relevant studies of the kind that I suggested and many, many more. Ayushman Arogya Mandir, a huge infrastructure that's being created, and I mentioned this in the forum. My second request is, Dr. President and the leadership of NAMS, it's about organ transplantation. A few years ago, you created a stellar document on organ transplantation in India. But there are challenges. We need 200,000, 2 लाख किडनी ट्रांसप्लांट चाहिए और हम 14,000 करते हैं. हमें 25 से 30,000 लिवर ट्रांसप्लांट चाहिए पर एनम, लेकिन हम 4,901 करते हैं. To me, the major reason is that the expertise to do so in our medical colleges, even centers of excellence, is missing. And this needs to be developed. If you look at the data, for kidney transplant, there are 666 transplant centers in the country. 581 of them are in the private sector, only 85 in the government sector. We need to change this. And can we come together, National Academy of Medical Sciences, to change this? We need to only 10 to 12% of all transplants, kidney 12%, liver 10% of all transplants that are undertaken in the country are done in the government sector institutions, including all our AIMSs, Centers of Excellence and Medical Colleges and so on. This must change. So therefore, my second proposition is, can NAMS, in the next 3 years, in the presidency of the president and the next president, we create 50 teams for kidney transplant in this country and 20 teams for liver transplant in this nation. Can we work for it? It's about training, it's about creating opportunity, connecting the dots. And I think NAMS is in a great position to do so. My third request is to promote, support, and help create an ecosystem for family medicine training. Family medicine is about individual care across the age, from childhood to the geriatric population, and in fact I would say in particular geriatric population, which will move from 15 crore to 35 crore by 2047. It's about a general physician doctor. Today's MBBS doctor is, humbly I submit, is not fully loaded to be a next door GP of the previous times. Expectations are more. Our program does not provide continuity for chronic care. There are other reasons, I will not go into the detail, but the nation needs general practitioners. And we are moving ahead with specialty programs in a very big way. We will be having a huge, almost 90% plus specialists by 2047 and a few MBBS trained doctors. There is be no space for family physicians. It's an emergency. It's enshrined in the National Health Policy 2017, as well as in the NMC Act, the bill of the Parliament. But we need to do a great deal. We only have 5,000 family physicians, MD family physicians in the country. We have only 17 seats in the NMC system, only 17. And DNB seat put together, a total of 500 seat pipeline. This must change. I plead with you that we would like to work with you to transit the bill of the Parliament to create a presence of about 20 per lakh presence of family medicine physicians going forward. My last suggestion is with regard to artificial intelligence and health. We know it's upon us. One of the most important sectors that will use AI and will disrupt its own system is indeed health, followed by agriculture and so on. 3 responsibilities of academia in this regard. A, create AI solutions. We need to work together. This network should think what is it that we can do to create AI for health. We should not be the consumer of AI for health alone, the biggest consumer in the world, but be the biggest creator of AI for health. That's my first step. Second, we need testing grounds and testing situations, real-life situations where AI products developed by our own startups and other people and by our own self should be tested and validated in terms of, in many ways, but in terms of sensitivity, specificity, and so on. And also, lastly, for AI, people who create AI will benefit, but people who will adopt AI will benefit more. Those societies which will move to adopt validated AI technologies will benefit more because they will make a difference on the ground. So we need to work together to adopt AI, those solutions which are validated, which are workable, which are context specific. An example is digital X-rays for TB, for example, and so on. We must be the forerunners for adoption, and therefore I request NAM's leadership to consider this as my fourth suggestion. I thank the leadership of NAM for the opportunity given to me, and in the end, I would submit the following, and I quote from Vivekananda to say, all power is within you, you can do anything and everything, unquote. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.